Good evening and welcome back to another Twitter Live on the All For United WFC page. As by now you should know, me and Matt, it's our Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Takeaway, whatever you want to call it. I know Matt calls it Saturday Night Takeaway, I call it Saturday Night Live, but hey, it also comes up with a better name. Those two will do, either one of them. How are we, people? Anyway, how are we this glorious Saturday evening? Chelsea have knocked out Manchester City at the FA Cup, so the quadruples no more. The Mickey Mouse treble is the only thing they can settle for, and I don't even think they're going to get a Mickey Mouse treble, to be honest with you. But welcome once again. It was nice to see some regular faces again in the chat straight away. Matt, how are we, brother?
Sunburned.
Yeah. Looking a bit like Anthony, lad. A bit like
I do look like Anthony from last week. I thought it was a cool look to go for. No, in my era, didn't take a hat when I was out coaching this morning. So yeah, a little bit sunburnt. Evening, Robert, and evening, Vix as well. Hope PSG batter City. Yes, let's have it. Oil versus oil. But no, yeah, not too bad, pal. Like I say, apart from the sunburn, all good. How about you?
Yeah, not bad. Trying to keep out the sun myself, mate. You know,
I can see why.
As you said backstage earlier on, went out and it was about 8-9 degrees. I know, late morning.
Yeah.
Then it just all of a sudden hotted up. As soon as I got back to my car from Old Trafford, mate, it was like 17 degrees. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah. I know. Mad.
Yeah. Madness, mate. Madness. Anyway, fella, we shall get into some previewing to start off with. We'll start off with the women as we usually do, because this is obviously the women's show mainly. We're playing Burnley, pal, and I put in a tweet. I think to John Foster, replies to John Foster in the week when he asked what the show was going to be about. I said this is going to test Matt's knowledge, because I really want to know if you know anything about the opposition, pal, because I ain't going to Scooby-Doo. I think you might have a fairer idea than me, mate, because I don't have a clue on these. All I know is that Alex Everett's part of their dev squad now. I think that's all I know about Burnley. But fire away, pal. Let's see your knowledge. Let's all test it.
Do you know what? My knowledge of Burnley actually isn't that bad. And myself and Gareth, we were there last January, I think, end of Jan last year. Our friends down at Leicester played them in the FA Cup, and where were we? I think we played our game on the Saturday against the neighbours, and this was on the Sunday. So obviously went down to Burnley. Obviously this time it's at the county ground at Leyland. But yeah, it's one of them. They've actually got quite a few of our old devs, which I think for me is quite interesting. You know, there's about 4 of. Obviously you mentioned Alex Everett. She was from last year. But I think some from sort of the year before, I think of Kennedy Owen. I think of Levi Rathburn. There's somebody else who used to play for us when she was a lot younger, Cara Bickett. She's there as well. A couple of devs from other clubs, the likes of City and Everton. So they've got a decent squad. I think, that for me, they're probably too good for that league. I mean, obviously the league's been sort of postponed, hasn't it? That far down onwards. But no, they're a good, solid, hard-working team. I think it's going to be better for us because we're on a much better pitch. That is it's a decent pitch at the county ground. I tweeted when it got moved. I played on that pitch, coached in cup finals on that pitch. I was there probably when I think to watch a cup final when Tooney was at Blackburn. They got to a cup final. So it's a more than good enough, which is better because Burnley's is like it's a slope, but it doesn't slope goal to goal. It slopes in the width. It's going down. It's very, very like dodgy, bit of a rough pitch. So I think that's probably why they've moved it. I don't know if the weather's maybe played a part in it or just the fact that they need a better pitch. But no, looking forward to it. I think, like I say, it should be good. I think it'll be better. Obviously, it's more of an occasion for them, isn't it? Being third tier, and it's one of them where they'll probably. They've never played somebody as big as us. They'd be very surprised if they had. Like I say, decent little team. They beat Sunderland on penalties. Their keeper actually saved 3 penalties in the last game. So Yeah, and like I say, they were going well in the third tier. They turn pro next year, along with obviously a few championship clubs. But yeah, it's one of them. I think we talk about third tier and we talk about, you know, teams that are too good for third tier. And I think Burnley are one of them, you know, the more than capable. I believe, although I might be wrong, I believe I read that they are opening up the championship application to balance up the league. I'm sure that's what Kelly Simmons said the other day. So hopefully, I mean, you know, there's Burnley, there is Watford, there is Southampton, there is Wolves that are all, you know, capable of coming up. But it'd be a decent test. And, you know, I think there's a few others said, haven't they, want to see Devs play, although haven't got many minutes. I think it's good and we want to do that. But obviously, people have got to bear in mind that the rules dictate how many Devs you can play. So you're allowed a 24-player squad of players. Now, obviously, there's, I know when I spoke to Nat on this, she said they can mix bubbles in terms of, like, you know, they train, and because obviously they're elite. But the only issue is, like I say, if you have more than 24, you then have to register those players and then they can't play any more than 2 games. So the rules are a little bit ridiculous because it means that it's kind of hampering what it should be about. It should be about, you know, promoting those devs and giving them minutes. But I mean, listen, if we see Carrie Jones, if we see Tara Bourne, I'd be absolutely delighted. I tweeted my team. I chucked Fran Bentley in goal as well. Just like I say, just use it for players that maybe haven't had as many minutes as they'd like. You know, I'm thinking Jane Ross as well. Throw them in, strong bench as well, and just see what it takes. As I notice, Gareth's on the ball. He's ripping your haircut already.
Oh no, it's all right with his bloody girly hair there, isn't it? Gareth? Yeah, no, he's all right, Gareth. You know, good lad. Good lad. Thank you for joining us again, Gareth. Anyway, mate. On that, you know, are you saying like chuck in players that need minutes? Do you think Casey will start those sort of players right from the start? Your Jane Rosses that maybe need a little bit of game time, and your Fran Bentleys, or do you think we're going to start strong? Because I've got a feeling that we might start strong and then bring these sort of players on if we're comfortable in the game.
Shampoo or shower gel when you wash, hair removal cream by the looks of it, Gareth. I think I'm half leaning your way, but I'm half thinking we might see a mix-up. And by that, I mean, say, like 7 or 8 that usually start. And maybe, I mean, obviously, if it's 8, then it's 3 into it, sort of, for the 11. I think, yeah, you know, it's one way. Like I say, you might see a mixture. You might see the same back 4 and maybe Martha come in, or possibly Smithy. But, yeah, it's one of them. I don't personally think that we should really, you know, massively underestimate Burnley, but at the same time, it's like we don't need to be chucking our best 11 out. Not for me. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but, you know, it's one of them ones where if we start them and they have a poor first half, we can change it second half. And I think it's one of them. But I think for me, it'd probably be a mix. I think you might see, I say, the youngsters come on earlier than normal. I think the last game that Carrie came on was 87, 88 minutes. So she literally got like 4 or 5 minutes with the additional time added on. But I think, you know, if we do start fairly strong, then bring them on. You know, I want to see these players coming on sort of 55, 60 minutes. And yeah, like I say, I think there'll be a couple, maybe. Like I say, Jane will probably start. Jess will probably start. Your back 4 will stay the same, maybe change the keeper. And I think that'll be it. I think apart from that, it'll be pretty solid.
And in terms of Burnley, I know we're not experts or anything, but is there kind of a danger player we should be watching out for? Is there, or maybe a couple of players that could pose as a bit of a danger?
I mean, from memory, from what I can remember, they had a wide player. Now, what was her name? I can't think. There was a winger that was quite sort of quick and nippy. I think she was called some. Can't think. Don't know. She was playing for City Development Squad anyway. I recognise the name if I see it, but there was her, and obviously Levi Rathburn that used to play for us. She's like a wide player / forward as well. You know, decent player. We let her go in season 1. I think she's been at Burnley now, obviously last year and this year. So yeah, I think there's, like I said, there's a couple that can cause problems, but nothing that I'm going to sit here and be like, you know, oh God, we really need to watch out. I think, you know, the defence can marshal one. The team, but yeah, I think that's like you say, it's one of the ones where if you're not on your guard and you're a bit slow to react, a bit lethargic, and sort of thinking, oh well, it's only Burnley, then there'll be problems. But I think on the whole, we'll be, should be more than enough in that team, whatever team's put out, whether it's the B team or whether it's the best team we can, there should be more than enough quality in there to still get the job done.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And in terms of like a bit of a score prediction, pal, what we're going for tomorrow? Go for a nice, comfortable win, or are we going to go for a squeaky bum type of win? Where it's just a close one.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because obviously it massively depends on the side we put out. But I think I'm going to go 4-0. I was going to go 3, but I'm thinking 4. Yeah, Vic's agreed.
Vic's saying 4, but I think Robert's saying 6. He
God, they're not that bad. No, I think 4-0. I think 4 will be one of them ones where it's comfortable, and I think if we get 2 or 3 up by half time, we can, like we talked about a few minutes ago, bring on a couple of the devs and just give them the experience. Because I think if you're cruising by half time and you're sort of 3-0 up, then second half's more about the performance, especially if you're bringing on those younger players. Getting them the minutes, helping them through, and just seeing out the game. I think 4-0 is about right for me. I wouldn't say anything, higher really. They're a tricky team. They're one of them ones that will sit compact and they're quite organised. And like I say, I link back to sort of when me and Gareth saw them last year, and they give Leicester a decent game. Obviously, different team back then to what they have now. It's just won the championship, but I think they only got 3. I think they won 3-0. So I think 4 will be about right. Like I said, it depends on the team. If our best team are out, then obviously it might be closer to what Robert says. But I think 4 is probably about right, and we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 3 or a 4-0. Anything more than that would be a bonus, mate. It'd be nice to see us.
Absolutely.
No disrespect to Burnley, but it'd be nice to see us absolutely pepper their goal. It'd be nice to see us get more than 4. I'd like to see us go and score an avalanche load of goals. Just get the confidence up a little bit. But I'm also a bit of a realistic person, so I'm happy with a 3 or a 4-0. Get the job done into the next round. And it's a bit of a strange this FA Cup with it taking place over 2 seasons. Really, if you think about it, back into this season, start of next season, it's really it's a bit of a dodgy one to get your head around, really, isn't it? I think
the thing is for me. Go on.
Oh, sorry, mate. I was going to say I saw Matt Johnson outside Old Trafford earlier on today. A bit of a social distance chat, and we're saying it reminds me a little bit of the EFL Trophy, where Salford City won it from last season, but then a day later had to give it over to somebody else because this season's competition winners won it. So it reminds me a little bit like that, where if we say we went on. Yeah, the day after, yeah. So, for example, we go and win an FA Cup this year. For this season, we might only have it for a few months or whatever it may be, or for part of the season. It gets handed over to the next one if it's not us, So it's a bit of a strange one, really. But
I'm wondering how we're all going to get them steps.
Yeah,
because they've got rid of the ramp and made steps. Steps
up. Mate, that's a nightmare, pal. If you ever been. I was about to say exactly what I was about to say. Have you ever been to Wembley, and especially on things like the bandit buses and everything, where you're drinking all day long, mate, stumbling up them steps to health and safety hazard? What have they done there? I really don't understand.
Well, it's not very good if you can't walk.
Exactly. Hudson needs to start to get a hat trick for a late birthday gift. I'm up for that. I did tweet her saying a birthday goal would be nice to top celebrations off. Vix is saying, I just think Casey will just want a professional performance. Absolutely. I think that's spot on. What's going to say? Papa John's Trophy, big name sponsors. EFL Trophy, son. Come on. Papa John's Trophy. Yeah. Nice opportunity to win a trophy early next season. No, that's a true point, no, mate. Because we discussed it last week, didn't we, about Casey. Does Casey need a trophy? If we get our hands on the FA Cup early on, that could stand us in good stead for next season, as the season progresses, nice early FA Cup final. I don't know what you're feeling about that. Should we get there, that is?
Well, yeah, I think it'll probably do our confidence wonders in the sort of early part of the season. And not that we should need it, but it's just that little bit of if we do get it, it's kind of weight off the shoulder, isn't it? Good evening to both the Johns as well. Popped up at the same time.
Must be a John thing, that.
I think it's just, like I say, not so much. I mean, confidence boost is probably the wrong word. I think it's just, it relieves pressure because, like I said to you on last week's show, for me, something has to come next season, trophy-wise. And listen, if that's the FA Cup from this season that we get next, then that's fine because that's still a trophy next season with it being carried on. I think it's important that it carries on, even though it's dragged out to next year. It's just important because it is the FA Cup and it's one of them, you know, it's like prestigious tournament, isn't it? You know, everybody sort of loves the FA Cup. I think it's one where you can see decent cup runs from teams, you know, saw it last year. So, you know, pleased it's carrying on. I think we need to go, like, is it Vix that said, yeah, professional performance, get the job done, and then see where it takes us. But there's no reason why we can't go on a good cup run. And like I say, that just takes all the pressure off because I think this year's final was about October, November time. So assuming that it's the same and we've got it next year, can you imagine if you've got a trophy done already and then it'd be like, right, brilliant, we've got our trophy. Let's go and kick on in the league or in the Conti Cup or wherever we are. But yeah, that's kind of branching into next season. So I'll not go off too much on that. But another thing I'm pleased about is it's actually accessible. I had a bit of a moan, shall we say, when it was in
always. This is your topic to moan about as well, I've noticed.
Yeah, well, it was one of them because the thing was, right, you'd seen throughout the week, like you'd seen, oh yeah, come and watch us on Facebook Live and come watch on YouTube. And who did I watch? Watford and Wolves last week. And they streamed it and it was good. It was all right, you know. And it was like, right, next round. And I was looking for sort of, you know, today and tomorrow. I'm thinking, not many games. I think there was Chelsea showing something and someone else was showing it on YouTube. And that was it. And I'm like, well, hang on a sec. Fans can't get in. Normally, it would be on the FA player. And we've not done anything. Now, obviously, there was a few of us chatting on this sort of thread. And some were saying like finance. Some were saying because it's the men's other semi-final. But it's a different kickoff time. So for me, there was no excuse. I was a bit like, you know, we're pushing all this broadcasting next year. You know, we want extra coverage. We're talking about growing the game. And everybody's absolutely buzzing and great. And then we're sort of, you know, closing off the FA Cup. But luckily, after a couple of rants and raves, yeah, Burnley first came out and they were like, oh, yeah, you know, we'll shorten our Clarets TV for £1, which isn't bad. You know, I did say they should have done virtual match tickets and made people pay because it would have sort of boosted their funds. You know, obviously income they'll be hit because they are lower. You know, if you had doubled the transfer budget, that's it. Literally. It's going in Sean's back pocket. So yeah, so I was like, you know, no, I'm hoping it actually goes to the women's team, sod the men's. So I was like, yeah, this is great, you know, £1, good price that, you know, you get to watch it, brilliant. And then I think day after, United were like, oh, well, we'll stick it on MUTV. And I don't know whether that was a bit of pressure because Burnley had kind of, you know, jumped on it first and said, oh, we'll show it. But I think in the end we got there. I think it's good because obviously, you know, I was speaking to a few people and they said, oh, I've not got MUTV. And I was like, well, that doesn't matter now because you can go and pay £1 as long as you remember to cancel your subscription and you can watch it on Burnley's thing. So it's accessible. So like I say, some people haven't got MUTV, but they've now got an alternative. And then I think on Monday, I saw that they're showing full match highlights on the FA player. I mean, it's crap, really, isn't it? When you know the result, you don't really want to go back and watch it. So I think if you can watch it live, watch it live. And I'm just pleased that, you know, they've got it live on there now and people can watch it. And like I say, this should be happening all over. There's still some lower league teams in there. And it's like, why aren't the FA doing something to help them? If financing is an issue, help them out with funds, you know, and then just for UK subscribers. Must have it. Yeah. So again, it's still
TV, just UK subscribers,
there, yeah. So it's there, but it's not. I mean, it's a start, but I suppose you can't be too kind of picky about it, can we? But again, it comes down to that thing because I get so many people that live in another country messaging me like, "Where can I see it?" And it's like it's annoying for me having to keep being like, "You can't see it because of this," and this is happening because of that. And it's frustrating to try and explain it or to try and tell them that. And it's like it shouldn't be happening, but it does. And listen, We've done Twitter lives, haven't we? I know I did on my Tuesday show about accessibility and things. Well, listen, like I say, I can't knock it too much because it's there. It's just unfortunate it's not there for sort of people abroad. But I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? You're not going to please everybody. You know, you've got the UK, but yeah, short sides of international. I agree. This is something I've said about sort of BT and their shambolic coverage, shall we say? You know, and there's people abroad that struggle to watch games, and there's rights and all this other stuff going on. It's just, but it's like I say, it's one of them now. It's there. It's available for some, which is a start. It's better than nothing. Like I say, I'll not knock it too much, but I think, you know, we need to obviously think about this, especially in the next rounds, you know, whether it's this season, whether it's next, it needs to be accessible. And obviously we've got Sky coming into play next year. I don't know. I think there might be one on BBC, although don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure there's one game on BBC. So again, if they can put a couple on, you know, they need to sort it out really. But I can see Gareth says their international TV rights are, yeah, a nightmare across all sports. Yeah, I suppose it's one of them, like I say, because the time zones and rights and money involved, they're bothered about the money, and it's difficult, isn't it? But we move on. We've got some coverage, so like I say, happy with that. It worked, a little bit of a moan.
It should, but to be fair though, mate, it shouldn't have to come to that. And as I said to Matt Johnson outside Old Trafford today, it shouldn't have to come to that, because it just shows you how little the FA care about this their own competition. As I said, is it Baroness Campbell or whatever her name is? She ain't got a Scooby-Doo, mate. She does not give a shit about the game. You could tell that bollocks about the referees a couple of months back. Not going to do anything about the referees for about 3 years.
Do you know what?
This whole thing about the FA Cup. It's what are you doing? You've had the third round, the fourth round of non-televised games for the men's FA Cup on your FA player. So I can't do it for the women's game. And I know that's been a big debate, a big discussion, a lot amongst many fans and amongst a few podcasts over the week. And I just think it's just the FA, it's just incompetent, mate. They just don't care. We've done shows about it, mate. Loads of shows, haven't we, about why I personally think the Premier League should take over the WSL. Well, that's another. I want to drag into that again, but I just think it's that they don't care. You know, why would you not show your FA Cup games? I mean, you can show all your league games. So what's wrong with the FA Cup games? I don't know whether it's a deal right or something or whatever. But
I think the thing is to get the cameras there. Because you know when we did, I don't think you were on my Tuesday show. Might have been the usual crowd. So we did this Tuesday show, and apparently, I think it came out when Sky deal got announced. Came out that to broadcast the games, because obviously they've got to get cameras there and all the trucks and everything. I think the total cost was 35,000. They said, which, I mean, you can understand it from sort of a third tier point of view, possibly a championship as well. Because I was sort of saying, you know, why is this happening? Why is there less championship teams on the FA player? And it came down to that. And I was shocked because I was thinking like 3 or 4 grand. And then when we read this deal had come out and it was the 8 million Sky deal, it was saying, you know, it currently costs 35 grand to stream the game. So I think that, again, it's like we've talked about in the past, finance. Now, for me, I feel that lower clubs, FA should foot the bill. They won't do because it's a business and they're there to make money. But at the end of the day, you've made the app, so it's like, why are you restricting what you put on it? You know, you're either putting your money into it to make it good, or you're not. But like I say, this was kind of the discussion we had. This talking a few months back now, but I was shocked that 35 grand seems to be at the minute the sticking point. Now whether that changes next year, I don't know, but that seemed to be the main point anyway for me, because that's quite a lot just to show one game of money. And you think obviously the FA plays free, so they're not getting in money from people aren't paying for it like people pay for, say, Sky and BT. So but it was just, it's one of them things really. But I do agree, like you say, it's there. And obviously it was funny because Sue Campbell was down at Leicester a couple of weeks ago when I was covering that, and she just whittering on about stuff and moaning. I'm thinking, if you'd spent less time moaning and more time doing, we'd get somewhere.
Absolutely, mate.
One of them, mate.
But you know, I just don't understand why for the FA Cup, for example, it also takes clubs such a long time to decide whether they're showing the game or not. I mean, United, we all know with United that it's always typically late from them. If it's not one of the actual main games, 3 games that they'll show live a season, they will chuck it out pretty late. But someone like Burnley, do you think they would have advertised this for weeks? Well, for about a week or so, to drum up interest. Especially now that their team is now integrated. I was speaking to a mate at work, a big Burnley fan, season goaler, who was saying the women's side is now integrated with the men's team, so going full time and whatever, next year, so which is good to see as well. But he was saying, because I asked him about the Clarets player, because obviously I know he always goes on about it. I asked him whether they were showing the game. He said he's not seen anything. He goes, they've advertised like a highlight package like we do. And they said it was like a rerun type thing on a Monday afternoon or something, he said. So I said, oh, well, I think we've got one at 6:30, so a couple hours after the game or something, daft like that.
Yeah.
And then he messaged me, was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember which one it was now. Slept since then, unfortunately. Everything blends in when you work nights, He messaged me anyway saying, oh, it's on the Clarets player. It'll cost you £1, but he said, don't worry about the £1. I'll just give you my password and everything. You can watch it for free. Oh, cheers, mate. And then obviously for MUTV, he said, oh, we're showing it. So I said, don't worry about it, mate. I've got MUTV, so I'm just going to watch it on MUTV. So he said, no worries. But if it don't work or anything, just give him a shout and he'll give me which is fair play. He's a top lad, man. But but you shouldn't have to wait all week to see how we're going to watch it and everything. Because I was a bit worried when I saw he was tweeting out about, oh, we're going to do a halftime show, and I'm like, how are we going to do that if we can't watch the game? But then obviously,
it's funny because obviously that we have to schedule tweets due to obviously personal commitments and things. So obviously I'd done that the day before and it was scheduled, and obviously we were assuming that something was going to be made available. So obviously that went out, and then it was like, oh my days. I said to John, I was like, oh, we'll just have to do a pre-match preview and sack the halftime show. Because like you say, it was very, very late. And again, it's annoying because when you're trying to tweet things out, and obviously I do some of the tweets for Barmy Army, and you're trying to coordinate things with people and get information out there in enough time so people know, date, time, kickoff, whatever. It's very annoying when it's like Thursday evening or Friday morning, they're like, oh, well, yeah, we'll show it. And then you have to go back there and change all your stuff and delete your tweets and edit your photos and your images. And it's an absolute nightmare. But that's a good comment there. Restrictions on MUTV are ridiculous. I mean, I don't know why it's 3 games. I'm not sure whether that comes from the FA, whether it comes from...
It's probably part of the broadcast to deal with BT and BBC as well,
But the thing for me is if it's not going on BBC and it's not going on BT, then they need to maybe have a conversation with the FA and be like, well, hang on, if it's going on your FA player, why can't we broadcast on MUTV as well? It must be something to do with the rights and FA.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to drop the FA player as well, mate, because I don't know how much it costs them to really run that service. But like you said about the cost for having the cameras and the vans on there. So that's probably why they may be saying that a club's own TV channel or internet streaming service can only have X amount of games a season. It'll be interesting if that changes with Sky. With Sky coming in, whether MUTV, for example, can show more. Because I think Sky are going to show more games anyway, aren't they, next season? So.
They'll have the majority.
Yeah. Just to go back to this point, because John did join us a bit late. How many changes would you make for Burnley? For the Burnley game, sorry.
Just time to rewind the show. Just wait till the end, John, and go back to the start. No. Well, I think you said you'd probably say like a stronger team. When you lean towards stronger. I by sort of half agreeing, and then I said to me, I'd give the likes of Fran Bentley a go, Jane, Smithy, Martha, the ones I was saying, sort of the ones that haven't played much, Jess, and the 2 devs in there, and sort of go at it that way. But then I think sort of, we did say, didn't we? We'll probably not see that many changes. I think for me, it'd probably be 3, maybe 4. And then, like you said, I think second half we'll probably see a couple of devs then if we're sort of cruising and we're 3 or 4 up. We should hopefully, like I say, be able to make more changes. But I think the keeper, I think Fran Bentler should be in, like I say, possibly the 2 fullbacks, Martha and Smithy, give owner a bit of a break. Just up top with Jane and see what it takes us. I mean, I put my team on Twitter and it was a little bit different to that. But yeah, that sort of answers John's question anyway.
Oh, good, oh, good. We didn't have 27 picks to choose from, did we, like Anthony the other day? Guys,
bless him. Do you know what's funny about that? I scripted in pre-show, as I do with everybody that comes on. If they've got bits to read or talking about something, I'll even say, like, read this or what's your thoughts on this and this. I said to him, I was like, right, you need a pen and paper. I'm going to pick 18 players. Just the kid's funny. It just makes me laugh. And it was like, oh, I've got 27, me. But yeah, no, we're sticking to it was just first 11. John said, didn't he?
Yeah, first.
Yeah, any changes. Yeah, so it's just starting 11.
Yeah. Right, and obviously, a little bit after the game finishes, the other game kicks off at Old Trafford. Funnily enough, we're playing Burnley as well. This time, good old Sean Dyche, he's going to come down to Old Trafford. He's going to try and ruffle some feathers, but he won't do because they're absolutely shocking this season. Burnley, I think they're 7 points off relegation.
You know what, though? You say that, and I read before that we haven't beaten them in the last 4 games.
That's true. That's true.
No, you say that.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, here he is, look, piping up. Homework for Tuesday show. The Tuesday show's not even on. We'll mention that. I'll talk about that at the end of tonight's show. But
yeah, obviously Gareth's jumped ahead of time as usual.
Yeah, he has. He's on the ball, that lad, but not quite correct. But no, Tuesday, Gareth, it's a night off for you. Parents' evening. You can see mum and dad to fill him in on how well you've done on the shows.
Oh, dearie.
No, sorry, crack on. You were talking about the men.
Yeah. I just wanted to get your opinion on the Premier League game as well, since we're playing Burnley in sort of a back-to-back fixture, if you like. Double header. It's what I always call a Super Sunday, when the women and the men both play on the same day, one after the other. Just wondering how you're feeling about United's chances tomorrow against Burnley in the Premier League. A huge 3 points would cement us second place, in my opinion, especially with Leeds and Liverpool coming up in the next couple of games as well in the league.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Listen, it was good that we turned it around and got there against Spurs eventually to open up a 7-point gap. Is it over Leicester? Because I think Leicester lose to West Ham last week.
Yeah,
West Ham lost again. Yeah, I did say to you last week, didn't I, that we needed to sort of do the business against Spurs in order to open up that gap, because obviously Leicester kicked off earlier. And I believe their running is a little bit as well more favourable than ours. Obviously, we do have to play them at some point in May. But I think their next sort of 3 or 4 games are like lower teams. So I think, God, here he is again, how many changes, dear me. I think, yeah, I'd agree. I think if we win, then that should be second cemented. Obviously, Leicester are involved in their cup final, but, it's that old thing, isn't it? We get the points on the board, it's more pressure on them. Obviously, it's 7 points now. It goes to 10, and you're thinking, well, we've got 10 points on the board. Yes, they'll have a game in hand, but it's just like, So I think I'll chuck in John's thing. How many changes would I make? To be honest, depending on injuries, I'd probably stick with similar team to played against Tottenham. To be fair, I don't know your thoughts on that. I think Rashford was sort of doubtful. Obviously, bearing in mind we played in the Europa Thursday, it wasn't too much of a strenuous game, was it? But I think as much as we can stick with it, we might see a couple of changes, like I mentioned. I read this morning Rashford was sort of doubtful with some sort of injury. Rest Rashford, yeah. It's one of them. It's a tricky one. And the thing that worries me is, like I said to you before, that we haven't beaten Burnley in the last 4 games at home. But listen, it's at home. We've got options. We're looking decent enough. I think, like I say, get the result done, and then it sort of allows us just to focus a little bit more on other things, doesn't it? If we can cement that second place, we may as well just go all out for the Europa. And I know some people aren't fans of it, but I'm just thinking, sod it. It's a trophy. might be a bit of a Mickey Mouse thing, but hey ho, beggars can't be choosers, because if we finish second, it's Champions League. So for me, you know, let's go out there, get it done. Like I say, maybe 2 or 3 changes. Will De Gea sort of stay in goal? Who knows? Might be a couple of changes maybe at the back, but yeah, again, need a trophy. Yeah, we do. Like I say, people aren't a fan of the Europa, but we're in the semis now. We've got no winnable, well, tricky tie, but a winnable tie against Roma. So yeah, see where it takes us. What are you thinking for team lineup then for the men, or how we'll sort of approach it?
I think Dean will come back in goal, because I think he's now the first choice Premier League wise. He's the first choice keeper. Harry Maguire come back in. The Rashford one is very, very, very interesting, because for me, I'd rest him. I say just have another match up. I'd have him on the bench just in case anything went wrong. But Pogba looks really, really good on the left-hand side at the minute. So I probably lean towards Pogba on the left. I fancy the McFred. McFred gets absolutely torn to shreds a little bit. You know, people don't like it, but I think McTominay, the height of Burnley as well. I think McTominay. I think you lean towards your taller players. McTominay in there with Pogba, with Harry Maguire. You know, their main focus is going to be from set pieces and balls.
Physicality, isn't it? Yeah,
physicality. Yeah. So I would say Matic, but I can't see Matic playing again. No. I know he got some minutes in the Europa League, but I can't see him starting.
Your Fred comment's not going down too well.
I love Fred. Pastor Fred. Fred, he's a good lad. He scored at Spurs. All is forgiven. But yeah, and obviously I start Bruno as well, because Bruno, everyone knows he's like along with Pogba, is like our best player outfield. You know, Got to start strong. I'll have Cavani up front, El Matador. You know, he's on fire in a minute. Play Greenwood out on the right. Definitely start Mason, because Mason's coming to a bit of form now. I was toying with Dan James actually for a bit of pacing behind him, but
I think he'd be an option to bring on for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Mason gives me more balance that side, I think. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But other than that, I can't see too many. Luke Shaw comes back in. You know. I think it'll probably be, you know, like I say, probably slightly similar to Tottenham. I'd be very surprised if there was huge changes from that. Yeah, but to be fair though, mate, it's good that we've got Eric Bailly back as well.
Well, that's the thing. It's either him or Lindelof, isn't it? Yeah.
Which I think Bailly will be on the bench, because I think he'll lead towards staying with Lindelof and Maguire. But if Bailly's fit and he can play, I'd have him in with Maguire, because Lindelof worries me in the air. He's not very good in the air. The way that Burnley play, they're very old-fashioned side, really, to be fair.
It's one of them, isn't it? But I think for me, it's like you said, the physical need worries you in the air, but for me, Bailly worries me on the ball. He seems to not dither, but sometimes it can be a bit like clumsy and rash and like fly into things or get dragged. And I don't know, it's one of them. I'm not convinced on him, but I'm not convinced like your reasoning on Lindelof. So it's like, I don't know which. I'd probably go Lindelof. I think Lindelof's just a bit more physical, isn't he? You get a bit more of a crunch in the tackle. Eric Bailly he's just like one of these crazy people that kind of, I don't know. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But do you know what I mean? When he just goes on a mad one, sometimes I think, Jesus, like what's he had pre-match for his breakfast or something, and it's a bit rash, shall we say? But yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting. It's like you say, I think Lindelof will get the nod for me personally, but like I say, it's one of them in the air where they've got like Barnes and whoever else they play up top. McNeil, is it? A couple of others. So. Yeah,
Woods as well. He's
Chris Woods.
He's one to look out for. I think it's maybe a big game for Dean Henderson, this one, because of the way that they just chuck balls in the box. And Dean's very good at coming out and catching, and very, very vocal at the back. And as Vic said, the defense is a bit more composed, but I think this is probably going to be his biggest test. And I don't mean in terms of the opposition. Because obviously he's playing against City, and he's playing against Liverpool, and he's played against Tottenham. So he's playing against the bigger teams. But
yeah,
in terms of the way that Burnley are going to play so direct, they're going to lump balls at the box. They're very Route One Burnley. They're not a very nice side to watch really aesthetically, because all they do is just hoof it. You know, it's the old Division 1 football from back in the day.
You know what?
Upfield.
I'm going to chuck in something after Thursday. Could you see Axel coming in alongside Maguire?
Axel, I love Axel Tuanzebe. I think he's one of our most naturally gifted players, and
he was all right.
It's just been a shame that he's been picking up niggly injuries, you know, throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise, I think it probably would be Harry Maguire's first choice partner, because there was a time last season where him and Maguire would play very well together, but it's frustrating me. We can't keep him fit. I like him, Axel Tuanzebe. I'm a big fan. Just like I'm a big fan of Ted Mengi, but that Ted Mengi is going to be some player. I tell you, I know that I think Wayne Rooney wants him back next season for Derby. You know, so it may work out that he goes back there for next season, just for another full season on loan to get more men's football under his belt. But for a young kid to go out and boss it at Derby County in the Championship, which is the Championship's not an easy league, to go and boss it, and he's done very, very well. And I think, by all accounts, Wayne Rooney's really impressed with Ted Mengi, so he's another one to look out for.
Very physical.
As a centre-half option. I think David De Gea will leave in the summer. I said this on, I don't know if people watched it, the All For United match reaction show after the Spurs game, and it's just my theory. I know nothing, but I could be talking utter garbage, but I think there's a conversation that has been had between David De Gea and the gaffer and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, I think David's he's become a father, of course. You know, and I believe his missus lives mainly over in Spain throughout the whole year and everything. And maybe comes to Manchester every now and then. I think, you know, becoming a father does change you. You know, it does change your whole outlook on life. I think he's had a conversation with Ollie, a little sit down, saying, "Gaffer, I've given you a decade of great service, give this club a decade of great service. I think it might be time for me to move on, if possible, in the summer. I've got a young child. I would love to be closer to my family, and you know, and I don't think Real Madrid are completely sold on Thibaut Courtois, the ex-Chelsea keeper. You look at a lot of their fans, they're not taken to him very well, and because I know there's been a huge debate, like people saying, "Oh, who can afford him? Who's going to afford his wages?" And that it may very well be that he takes a huge cut in wages and goes somewhere, maybe PSG, which is more mainland Europe. You know, I think Atletico Madrid, you can't write that off yet either, because if they do sell Oblak, you know, he's probably the best goalkeeper in the world. They're going to get a huge chunk of money for him. And if David decides to go back to Atletico, you know, that could be an option. It all depends what happens in the summer. But just when I say that Real Madrid are not sold on that quarter.
No. The other option is, could you see, if Donnarumma leaves AC Milan, could you see AC Milan affording wages?
Because to be fair, though, mate, they're going to get a good chunk for Donnarumma because he's a top keeper as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's
but again, it harps back onto the situation. Is like, who's good with this pandemic that's hit clubs? Who's going to afford what? You know, it's sort of the big oil sort of funded football clubs, like your PSGs, like your Manchester Cities, that will go and splash the cash. I think, you know.
Yeah,
I think they're going to take, those two clubs in particular, going to take great advantage of the transfer window.
The only thing for me, if he does go, is that it's going to be unfortunate, because I'd be very surprised if we're allowed a full house at Old Trafford for any sort of testimonial, which would be a massive shame after, like you say, a decade of service. If we could,
to be fair, they could work out a deal where if it's not possible this summer, maybe next summer you could.
True.
For example, they could say to, I don't know, for theory's sake, she goes to Real Madrid, and United and Real Madrid work out between them. Yeah, we'll come over for a testimonial. David can have a testimonial. we could have like a pre-season friendly against each other.
True.
I mean, you never know. And David, to say goodbye, it'll be sad if we can't say goodbye to David De Gea, because listen, I know he's not been at his peak of his powers of the last 2 or 3 seasons, but the guy has been a phenomenal goalkeeper. He's up there with Schmeichel and Van der Sar.
Considering when he came in, of those first, second, and possibly third season, when he massively struggled, he was a bit lightweight one. He used to get bullied. Even though, like say, the last 2 or 3 years he may have dropped off, still a damn sight better than when he came. I mean, listen, obviously he was young when he came in, and it was a huge club. But you know, it's still, like I say, still there, and like I say, he's up there now with the best. And obviously you mentioned them names there. And like I said, you know, if we could come back for a testimonial, whether that's, you know, like you say, Madrid, like I say, it's possible to get a pre-season, play half each, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
A similar thing happened with Keeks. He went to Celtic, and then we played them in a pre-season friendly.
Yeah, I'm sure that happened recently with somebody else as well, but I can't think who. Where somebody played half for one team and half for us, and I'm struggling to think who it might have been. But anyway,
no.
Maybe it was Rooney. Maybe it was his. He'd play half for Everton and half for us.
Yeah, possibly, but I can't remember off the top of my head now myself. The first season, people talk about him stealing donuts from Tesco. But the thing is, with David,
remember that.
Yeah. The thing is, though, mate,
try before you buy.
I remember when we played Arsenal at Old Trafford. I was there. He saved a penalty for Van Persie, but he looked so unsure. He was a skinny kid. He tried to catch the ball and went through his hands. And went out for a corner and everything. All I can remember is Arsenal fans chanting "dodgy keeper," you know, and he had that quite a long time. But to see him grow into the goalkeeper that he grew into, mate, to the best in the world for a good 3 or 4 years, was unreal. He was unreal, mate. You know, but you can even see back then when he was a skinny teenager and he came over, he had something about him. Potential was there, absolutely. And that's exactly the same thing that I see in Dean Henderson. You know, obviously they're a bit different in terms of style as a goalkeeper. David De Gea is very unorthodox because he saves a lot with his legs and feet, you know, which is very unheard of for a goalkeeper, really. The amount that he does save with his feet. But Dean just reminds me of an old-fashioned sort of English goalkeeper, you know, very, very good in the air, very commanding. And he's up to the modern ways, you know. I know David came out the Europa League, came off his first time I've ever seen him out of his area to clear a ball, to be fair. Very rarely see David De Gea in that sort of territory. But Dean Henderson's always out there, you know. And I blame Mr. Neuer from Germany, you know, with his sweeper keeper thing. You know, he revolutionised the sweeper keeper to come off your line to clear, you know, to clear the lines and that. But listen, mate, David De Gea has been a fantastic servant for Manchester United. Be interested to see what happens in the summer, you know. And in terms of number 2 coming in, I think that was discussed as well. And I said apparently there's rumours about Sam Johnson, obviously ex-United Academy goalkeeper at West Brom at the minute. Call up to England. He could be another option to come in as a number 2. Might be happy.
Would he though, do you think?
I don't think so, mate.
I'd be surprised.
But United will probably have to dip in for a number 2, though, because I think Sergio Romero's going. I can't see him being happy to stay number 2, and then
Romero's not good enough.
Lee Grant's getting on now, and Max Bishop. I think his name's Max Bishop. So I got it wrong last time. Or Nathan Bishop. I said Max Bishop last time, didn't I? Nathan Bishop, beg your pardon. He's not quite ready yet, you know. As long as he's better than the old school English kid, Pete Shilton was crap in the air. Shilton, bloody hell. You go way back there, Gareth. Anyway, I'm going to move it on now because time is ticking on, because I want to ask this question to people. And that is, what does Manchester United mean to you?
Yeah.
You know, is it the club itself? Is it that you got brought up with it? You know, is it your parents that were family, or a family member that were huge United fans who were just born into it? Is it a player, a match? And what is it? I just want to know, what is it that got you into Manchester United?
I think for me, I was thinking about this when he tweeted it, and I think I was thinking at it In a few ways, I thought of the word family. I thought of just one word because I thought I can expand on that in more than one way. And I think family in the fact that when you go as a fan, it feels like family, doesn't it? And especially the women when it's sort of close knit. And obviously there's a couple of thousand of you. And obviously we all travelled and got to know each other as mates. And I think that for me summarised it up. I think even just like, the players, the ones that have been there since the start, they know the faces and they know the regulars. I mean, okay, they may know some names, they may not. But again, it's good, isn't it? And I think the same with the men. You link back to that. I mean, I don't do many of the men's games. But again, just family in the sense of, like you said, family growing up. That's been sort of my family anyway, apart from one or two. My granddad went a bit wayward and follows Blackburn, but that was sort of linked back to his dad coming from there. But yeah, again, sort of family ties, being from the area, being born there. So that was my kind of take on it. I think, like you say, sort of the whole picture, if you like. That for me was a good word to summarise the whole thing. And like you say, just sort of tradition, the start of the club, sort of the Matt Busby era. You hear about all the history and things. You go around. I think for anyone that's been fortunate enough to go to Carrington, it's a hell of a facility. I mean, okay, it may need a bit modernising, but back when I was born, it was obviously the Cliff. So it was again.
Mate, can I just say, Carrington's got nothing on the Cliff.
Oh no, not in terms of history, it's not. No, but again, the Cliff, great historic ground, and like I say, for anybody that's been lucky enough to go there, again, it's just very, very, very good to see like the original sort of where it all happened, sort of class of '92 and things like that. So I think it's one of them really, where like I say, family for me summarised it the best because it kind of linked into how we sort of all get on following the women, and then it linked to, like I say, being brought up within my family and sort of everybody in that, like I say, I had my granddad, but everybody else is pretty much on the same path that follows football anyway, should I say. For them that don't, it's kind of, they just put up with it and kind of still go along, as they would. But yeah, it's just, I think that for me, like I say, that's the most appropriate word. Like I say, there's nothing better, especially with the women, than when we all sort of wake up on a Sunday morning, if it's an away game, we'll all meet up at Old Trafford and travel down together, or whether it's even a home game. And, some of us, I know previous years, obviously when we was allowed, I used to meet up with a few people, I think yourself included, we'd go and get a breakfast in Morrison's, or we'd all queue up early and get sort of, takeaway bacon barm. And it's mad because I think through the women, got to know so many different people. Obviously I know yourself, like you go to the men, Dave Prick goes to the men, Natalie does, Mark and Deb, Shane does a few. So it's really, I don't know, yeah, it's good, isn't it? Because it's like the same passion and the same, what do you call it? Same passion, same
love.
Hobby. Is that the right word, maybe? What was you saying?
Love, maybe.
Yeah, same passion, love. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Well, passion and love's the same thing, isn't it, really, to be fair?
Passion, love, hobby, all the same. But like I say, it's like a big family. I think just everybody, I mean, listen, there's a lot more of us now in the women, so it's difficult to kind of, chat and get involved with everyone, and that's where Twitter's great. But again, even on Twitter, met so many different people from different parts of England, different countries. It's just great, isn't it? So I think that like I say, the best, and again, things like this, it's good to hear people's different stories, how they got involved, who they met, the first memories, the best memories, things like that. It's yeah, it's always interesting. Like I say, it's just everybody's got a different story, and that's what's great. Some people have got, they went to this match and they got this memory from it, or they remember the first European away. I mean, something that sticks out for me massively with the women is the first trip abroad to Norway. And okay, we got a pasting in the friendly. I mean, nice. that was that. But just the trip, like I say, again, everybody together, all planned it together. Everybody flew together. We went sightseeing together. It was great because it just works, doesn't it? And it just brings everybody together. And I think that's a big part of football as well, is that it's just at the weekend, or even if it's midweek, it's just a bit of relief from day-to-day life, isn't it? You're out of work or whatever you are, and you're just sort of nice and chilled, and you can all, meet up, have a good social, have a good laugh. First match was Ollie's debut. Yeah. See, again, it's great, isn't it? Because people have these little things. Mate. I think for me, one of my early, God, I'm trying to think back now. I don't remember too much when I was young. I'm talking like 5 or 6, but I think something that stuck out was when Van Nistelrooy first came in for me. And I remember young Ronaldo coming in and being dead excited because I just loved the guy. Still do. But again, you know, and we had like back in the day, it was Van Nistelrooy first coming in. That was one of my early memories. But yeah, people have different memories, different sort of stories to tell. And this is what's great about football. You know, you always meet people with a different story to yourself. So I'll let you chuck your bit in now because I've waffled.
Well, for me, United, I think it's summed up by the quote, it was my first ever love. Like, you know, when you're a young lad, I was probably about 5, 6 when I got into United, you know. I was pretty late, actually, in terms of getting into football, to be honest with you. With my dad being in the army, based over in Germany, I didn't really know a lot of football. It was when my dad came out of the army and slowly, we came back to England, he slowly started to integrate out the army during the 12 months. Like these last 12 months that I probably got into football. My dad's a West Ham fan, you know, he's an East End boy, he's from the East End of London. But my first ever game was, my best friend at school was unfortunately no longer with us. He passed away a few years ago, but his dad was a bit Leeds United fan. Season ticket holder for Leeds United, and he was like, oh, he had a spare ticket for me because usually he takes his mate and my mate, his brother, because they're all Leeds fans, but those two couldn't go. So he asked my mum whether I wanted to go. Mum was like, yeah, get him out of the house. And it happened to be Leeds United, Man United at Ellen Road. And 94, 95, mate. You know, yeah, mate. I tell you, I was a bit late getting into football, but that was the first of the memories. And obviously, my best mate is a big United fan. So I said, oh, which team do you support? Oh, United playing in red. So from then on, that's how I got into it, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a bit late because, as I said, I was in the army. I was had no clue about football, to be fair. Even though my dad did try and say, oh, you want to support West Ham and everything, didn't even watch a game of football until I went to Ellen Road. So that was my first ever introduction to football. And I remember the atmosphere being absolutely crazy and wild, mate. And I was just like, I love this. And so I've been a United fan ever since. So I kind of missed out on the first Premier League season, the first couple of Premier League seasons, unfortunately. But that's the way it is, you know. But Lee Sharp was the first footballing hero, you know. Fucking love Lee Sharp, me. But I think it's more to do with the Sharpie shuffle than anything else. What legendary celebration that was, and his Elvis corner flag celebrations, quality. But as I said, we go through the years and years and years and years to the men's, you know. And then obviously when United bought our women's side, mate, and then we all sort of got to know each other. And that Oslo trip, mate, fucking that stands out for me. Really,
I
really
gutted last year that Malta got cancelled because we all should have gone to Malta last summer, shouldn't we? Barring all what's going on, so that would have been good. That's a nice little island as well. But
yeah, I've been to Malta before.
Don't think we'll get abroad this year. I've been thinking, me champion in Scotland. I was like, let's just keep it UK. You know, been up to Scotland a couple of times. It's all right. You know, we'll go and play Celtic. We'll go and play Rangers. We'll go and play Glasgow City or something. We'll get up there. We'll have a mini pre-season tour in Scotland because Rangers have gone full time now. Rangers have got a good squad. So, you know, Celtic are chucking money in. Glasgow are always Champions League. I know we played them last summer, but, you know, let's get ourselves up there, get fans up as well. We'll take a bus, a few days around Scotland, Edinburgh, Glasgow, mate. A couple of clubs and pubs. It'd be great, that.
Yeah, but as I said, it's a feeling of a family thing as well, you know.
Yeah, it's a good social.
It is, mate, you know, and I can't wait for the next time we could all get together, which I know a couple of us it'll be quite shortly, you know. But I just can't wait till next time we're all in the mat, you know, we're all back in the stadium. Obviously, it'll probably have to be social distance as well, even then, you know. But it should be nice to see people again, nice to see faces. Like I said to Matt Johnson, he's the first one out of all of us that I've actually bumped into since this pandemic started, you know, obviously. And I said, it's just nice to see someone familiar, you know, just to talk to him in person. You know, obviously at a socially distanced 2 meters, but still, you know, it was good to see someone.
Interaction.
It's just that a human interaction, mate, and I really miss it, mate. As you said, it's like it's like a family, like, you know. Obviously, I already knew Prit and Natalie from the men, but I didn't know Mark and Deborah. Obviously, I know that. Obviously, once I got to know them, they went to the men as well. But Prit sits a couple of rows behind me at Old Trafford. Natalie, I've known for. I kind of knew who she was because I've seen her around for quite. You know, I've seen her around in cup finals and all sorts. I've seen her around in years, but just never really spoke to her until I saw her at LSV that time. I got introduced by a mutual friend properly. But it's just like, it's amazing. It's amazing how, you know, just how it all sort of begins and starts with, and long may it continue.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Right then, lad, gonna get just before we leave, just in case anyone's missed it, some score predictions. Firstly, for the women, mate, tomorrow in the cup. You went 4-0, was it?
I went 4-0, yeah, I'm sticking with that.
And I forgot to get one for the men. So what we saying for the men?
3-1.
3-1. I would go 3-0 for the women, 2-0 for the men, because I just got, you know, Burnley's Burnley, innit?
Difficult to break down, lad.
Absolutely, mate. And what's happening tomorrow in terms of shows, Matt?
Yeah, so tomorrow, 1 o'clock, John Foster with guests will be doing the usual pre-match preview. So obviously team news will come out. We'll do his discussion on that. And then now we've got access to actually watch it, we are able to do halftime. So John will do pre-match and John will be doing halftime. Like I say, I think guest or two will be joining him. So yeah, and then the schedule, I need to confirm it because like I was saying before, Gareth was on about Tuesday. Well, there you go, him and Anthony.
Him and tomato ketchup face, yeah.
Yeah, hey, I can't say much of my sunburn at the minute, but yeah. Yeah, I think we match reaction on Tuesday, I think, because there was something, the men were doing, I think, a special for George Best on the Monday. So obviously, you know, we need to all obviously, you know, that'll be a good show. So we're going to tune into that. Obviously keep that free. So Tuesday will be match reaction from the FA Cup, which means my Tuesday show has a break. So I pass the baton to John for his capable presenting talent, shall we call it. So yeah, but as usual, what we'll do is the full schedule will go out tomorrow for the week. I think that's the only change from what I can remember. I think what else? Oh, the weekly, you know, we do the post for catching up on all the weekly shows. I'll probably put that out tonight, to be fair. So I'll get that together. We'll tweet out tonight. That'll be pinned as well, so you can all catch up if you've missed any throughout the week. And yeah, see where it takes us. We are approaching our 50th show. So we will, you know, we'll be doing stuff for that 50th show. We've got the YouTube channel coming in. And yeah, good times. We've got stuff lined up for summer now. We're taking bucket. There you go, 50th show next week. Taking bookings, you know, we've got crazy amount of guests. I think we're 5-6 weeks booked up now, so that's looking good. Like John says in the comments there, somewhat special plan for the 50th show, which I believe is after the Tottenham game. So that'll be 50th YouTube show, that'll be. So yeah, big things coming. Like I say, busy planning for summer now because we've got sort of the next 5-6 weeks done and dusted, people booked in. And yeah, that's us, pals. So that's pretty much, that just wraps it up. All I can say is keep an eye on Alpha United. And yeah, that's the best place to find everything at the minute. Or our personal Twitters.
Yeah. Go on now, give me your personal social medias, pal.
Personal social media, yeah, on screen, unless you're an Arsenal or a Chelsea fan. No, I'm joking.
Oh, Matt loves them. Matt loves his Arsenal.
No, do you know what? I was having a chat. There was me and Jockey having a chat, and some absolute nugget that supported